everybody, and here we go again. And this evening, I wanted to talk about keeping to your principles as a coach. I'm sure a lot of people who have jobs have principles about what they want to achieve in their jobs, about how they know that they've had a good day at work. And it's exactly the same when it comes to coaching, even when we're talking about rugby coaching at an amateur level. Now, for me, I've always had key principles. Some I've stolen from other people. Some other ones I've had since I can remember picking up a rugby ball. And as a player, my key principles were always run hard, hit hard, work hard. That was literally it, and installed at a very young age from, my dad and coaches that I came across and things like that. And those are the key principles of rugby to me. And I think when things have gone wrong or when seasons haven't gone the way that we wanted, I think what's happened is I've moved away from those key principles. And the generation of guys that we're dealing with now, obviously there's quite a big age gap between me and some of the guys that we've got coming into the team. And, sometimes those principles don't hit home. They play rugby in a very different way. They've got a very different mentality. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was never very good with ball in hand. I was more interested in hitting stuff, and defence was always my favourite bit of rugby. And sometimes the guys that I'm now talking to and the guys that I'm now coaching don't have that same mentality. But that's the standard that I expect my players to reach, and it's also the standard that I expect of myself in terms of judging whether a game has been good or not. So the question is, how do you get those principles in place without them causing a rift or a difference of opinions between myself as a coach and the players that are there? And actually, I have changed the principles slightly in terms of how I put those messages across, but actually the core foundations of them are exactly the same. So what I've been using recently is hit to hurt, which rugby is an aggressive contact sport. You need to want to do some damage with and without the ball. And the boys that I've been coaching for a while now will be sick to death of me hearing that one, of me saying that one. I think the second one is communication, especially in a chaotic game and a chaotic sport. You need to communicate. You need to be really clear in regards to what you expect and what you want from your teammates and how you get yourselves out of difficult situations. And thirdly, it is the enjoyment. And actually, that's been the biggest saviour for me. It's that enjoyment, and it's the laughs and the smiles that some of the boys kind of bring on a match day, on a training day. And actually, it's the reminder of that's why we're here ultimately. Nobody gets paid for being there. The coaches don't get paid, the players don't get paid, certainly at the level in the leagues that we deal with. So, you've got to bring it back to that enjoyment. Why are we here? So the principles are still the same. I still expect my players to run hard, hit hard, and work hard. And if you can work harder than your opposite number, it puts you in a really good position to be able to win that game. But actually, how I put those messages across are slightly different, and I do have to change them slightly to try and make them appeal to the younger generation and also to some of the guys that have been playing for a little while. Because for me, it was always the fear of failure that kept me going, and I wanted to be better. I wanted to try and be the best player on the field. Whereas for some people, that doesn't really work. For some people, it's the carrot rather than the stick, and that encouragement and reminding them why they're there and what they can bring to the team and all that sort of stuff, which is really difficult sometimes. To try and remember how to put those messages across clearly. But as a coach, it's a massively important skill to be able to kind of project what you expect onto those guys that you're coaching, but in a way that is relatable to them, rather than sounding like a dinosaur trying to hit the same drum and hit the same message in there. My principles will never change in terms of the way that I approach rugby and the way that I want rugby to be played. But actually how I put those principles and messages across has to adapt, or else they're just going to get lost in translation. So hopefully that will help some of you coaches out there as well. If you've got key principles that you want to put across, don't lose them. Don't change them too much, because they're the reasons why you got involved in rugby and the reasons why you enjoy it so much. So don't change them so much that you're going to lose a little part of your enjoyment and yourself when it comes to it. But make sure that you're putting those across in ways that people can understand, that people can relate to, because that's really important as well. Thanks very much for watching. And again, as always, if you're enjoying these, please follow us, send me any comments, any questions that you've got. It'd be really great to hear what you guys think of these so far.